In regards to critical race theory, the term Orange Mound came from our African or African American ancestors, or our Native American ancestors who were here before whites came. Please understand that Orange Mound in DNA science proves that the original people in America were black people. When Columbus came to America, he saw black people who looked like the black Dravidian people of Southern India, and he called the people Indians. Now, evidence shows that far back as the Koshin, as well as the Anu, we black people have DNA evidence to bring in that being in America, that there's evidence of Mali or the royal Mali mound builders in America. And our name comes from the original mound builders. These were black Native Americans all over America before any white people came to America. Our black American ancestors, or our black American history, teaches us that we black people lived from the Carolinas all the way down to Florida, west into Tennessee, and that there were many black Native Americans whose names included the Yuchi, Yamaqua, Atiquami, the Creek, the Tuscarora, and the Yamasee, to name a few. You see, black Native Americans, we had names in America before white people brought many of our relatives to America via the Atlantic slave trade. However, before there was even an Atlantic slave trade, we had Africans or black people already in America. Now, what you have to do is look at the artist drawn pictures. You can look at the pictures that, or the story that was told by Hernando de Soto. You can look at the black pictures of our black relatives, and you will see that America, or the Native Americans, or we black people, were already here prior to the Atlantic slave trade. Now, white supremacy and racism gives us a false view of Native Americans. You see, we are not all Africans. Now, while many of us call ourselves African American, many of us are actually Native Americans. Let's understand the racism regarding our Native American heritage. You see, there are 5 Native American groups who call themselves the civilized tribes. Most lived in this area. They are called the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Creek, and the Seminole tribes. Now, the Native Americans would have won the war if it was not for the civilized tribes, or those who we call the Cherokee Indians. See, the Cherokee white men married Cherokee women, and they call themselves the civilized tribes, and they adopted racism and they adopted white supremacy. What is the takeaway here? The takeaway here is, because we have the name Orange Mound, we can identify with our pride and our Native American heritage, and not identify with the so-called 5 civilized tribes who practice white supremacy, racism, and who also held our ancestors in slavery just as the whites. And they are the ones who sided with the Confederates are enough to let me know that I do not side with them. White racism used Hollywood and the image of the Red Indian to rob us out of our Native American heritage. We are Orange Mound, the land of not only the black and proud African Americans. Orange Mound is also the land of us proud black Native Americans.